you're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy body full of tats.
Pedro Acosta, KTM's young star rider, shared his thoughts after the thrilling 2025 MotoGP Brno sprint race. In the race, Marc Marquez from the Ducati team demonstrated strategic moves and skills that left many, including Acosta, in awe. The race began with Marc Marquez leading the pack, but shortly after, he slowed down and let Acosta pass. It turned out that decision was not without reason. Marquez was experiencing issues with excessive tire pressure and chose to lower the temperature of his tires by following behind Acosta for several laps. "I thought I could stay in front longer," said Pedro Acosta after the race. "But suddenly Marquez reappeared behind me, and when he overtaken, I had no chance to fight back." The way he managed the race was very smart. "I learned a lot today." After stabilizing his tire conditions, Marquez launched another attack. With precision and high speed, he overtook Acosta and immediately secured first place until the finish line. Pedro Acosta had to settle for second place, while his KTM teammate, Enea Bastianini, completed the podium with a third-place finish. Marc knows when to attack and when to wait. It's not just about speed, but also experience and racing intelligence. "I think that's the difference between a great rider and a legend," I added Acosta. And here's the full story. The 2025 MotoGP Brno sprint race delivered an extraordinary spectacle that showcased not only a battle of speed, but also a strategic duel between two generations of riders, the legendary Marc Marquez of Ducati and KTM's rising star, Pedro Acosta. The final results saw Marc Marquez in first place, Acosta in second, and his teammate, Enea Bastianini, rounding out the podium in third. However, the story behind the results is far more intriguing to discuss. The race began with Marc Marquez immediately surging to the front. However, a surprising turn of events occurred when Marquez suddenly eased off the throttle and let Pedro Acosta pass. Many initially assumed Marquez was experiencing a performance drop, but the reality was far more complex. In a post-race interview, Pedro Acosta revealed that Marquez's action was part of a strategy to manage tire pressure. "When he let me pass, I thought he was having issues. But it turned out he was playing a very smart game," Acosta said with admiration. For several laps, Marquez let Acosta lead, following closely behind with high precision. The goal? To lower the temperature and pressure of the tires, which had become too high in the early stages of the race. This strategy successfully brought the tire compound back to optimal performance. "I felt confident being in the lead, but I knew Marc wasn't the type of rider to give up. I could sense he was maintaining his distance, observing. And sure enough, when he was ready, he overtaken me in a very clean yet aggressive manner. I couldn't fight back," Acosta continued. The overtaking moment occurred in the middle of the final lap. Marquez perfectly utilized the slipstream, took the ideal racing line, and closed the gap without giving Acosta any chance to respond. After that, he immediately opened an unassailable gap that Acosta couldn't close until the finish line. And what impresses me isn't just his speed, but how he reads the race. That's something I haven't fully mastered yet. He knows when to defend and when to attack. I think that's one of the qualities that keeps him at the top even as our generation keeps coming up," said Acosta. Meanwhile, Enea Bastianini, who finished in third place, also praised his teammates' performance at KTM. "Pedro showed incredible progress. But Marc was on another level today. We can all learn from how he managed this race." With this result, Marc Marquez not only reaffirmed his status as the most experienced and intelligent rider on the grid, but also sent a clear message that he remains highly relevant amid the dominance of younger riders. For Pedro Acosta, this race served as both a valuable lesson and a lesson in humility. The 2025 MotoGP Brno sprint race once again provided the stage for Marc Marquez's stunning performance. While it wasn't the first time the 8-time world champion demonstrated his skill on the bike, the way Marquez handled the tire drop issue in this race earned him widespread praise, including from Yamaha rider Fabio Quartararo. Marquez, starting from the front row, immediately hit the gas from the start and successfully took the lead. However, midway through the race, the performance of his front tire began to deteriorate drastically. Grip was diminishing, and signs of wear were threatening his stability. In such a critical situation, many riders would typically try to hold onto the lead at all costs, often ending in loss of control or a crash. But not Marquez. Seeing the tires heating up and wearing out, Marquez opted for an unconventional move. He deliberately slowed down slightly and allowed Pedro Acosta from the KTM team to overtake him. But surprisingly, Marquez didn't let go. He continued to trail Acosta from behind at a steady pace, maintaining a safe distance while giving his front tire some rest. Fabio Quartararo, who also finished the race and witnessed the maneuver directly from behind, couldn't help but admire the strategy. "I've never seen another rider that smart during a race," Quartararo said after the race. When the tires start to drop, most riders panic or lose their rhythm. But Marc let Acosta pass, stayed close, lowered the tire temperature, and then when the time was right, he counterattacked. The strategy proved successful. A few laps before the end, Marquez's tire temperature began to stabilize again. He immediately increased his pace and aggressively pressured Acosta, ultimately reclaiming first place brilliantly. The crowd cheered at the incredible duel, but many overlooked that the victory wasn't just about speed, but about the intelligence to read the race conditions. "That's what makes Marc different," Quartararo continued. "He's not just fast, but he knows when to yield and when to attack. That's the art of racing that not all riders possess." Marquez's victory in Brno further solidified his reputation as a rider who is not only physically and technically strong but also mentally brilliant. For Fabio Quartararo, that moment became a valuable lesson about how a true champion can turn the potential for defeat into victory, simply by reading the situation and making decisions that other riders wouldn't even consider.
You're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Got some needles to the face, baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer.